Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of B2B Live Collab with me, your host, Elise Abraham from Faith and Sparkles World. And this entire talk or episode that we're going to be having today is with a friend of mine. Her name is Jasmin Bryant, and she is a visual brand specialist. I think she's going to explain a bit more in detail about what that means. And then we're going to get into details into the power of your presence. That's the key, the power of your presence and how other businesses view you, they interpret you to possibly collaborate and partner with you. So without further ado, welcome, Jasmin. How are you?
I'm doing great, Delisa. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Please share with the audience a bit about what it is that you do.
Okay, so as Lisa said, I'm Jasmin Bryant. I am a brand visibility coach, and I help women coaches, network marketers, and speakers and small business owners to boost their brand's visibility so that they can make more money. Basically, when you're visible, you make money and you can help other people, help yourself, help your family. And I really focus on women because we tend to not be seen as much as we should be for a variety of reasons. And yeah, I'm just, it's all about people can't buy from you if they don't know that you exist. So I help
That's
you exist.
yeah, that's a very, very good point. And when I first started a few years ago, I was so afraid of being on camera, but I wanted the visibility. And so when the business first started, it was out with my daughter's books. And I just thought that's where it's going to be. I wanted to be in the background. And this is very true. You know, you would see in the beginning stages, I was just not around, even personal profile, very limited, which was not very good
Yeah.
from a business perspective. And I had to get comfortable real quick. Now, you brought up the fact that if you're not visible, then nobody's going to know you. You're not going to get paid. I'm here to ask you, in this day and age, is it possible to not be visible?
I mean, people try. They try hard to not to be seen. I was talking with a woman who is a weight loss coach, and she said, like, for the first 3 years of her business, she had 0 bites from potential clients. She had a website, she had a Facebook page, and all of this, but nowhere on the page, any of the pages, did she have her name. She didn't have a picture of herself before, after, current, nothing. It was all, this is what I did. This is, how I lost weight. This is how I got my family healthier. Come hire me. And I mean, like I said, you have to work hard to not be visible. We have all these free platforms now that you can just do it. Just do
Just do
it.
it. Just do it. You know, you were talking about being, it's very hard to not be visible, but then at the same time, you can be visible, but not visible. And
Yeah.
I'm going to touch a bit more on the power of visibility, and your expertise here is needed because, as you mentioned, the person that you were speaking to, the young woman that you were speaking to, although she was into health and wellness, into fitness, I would automatically assume that she is logging every day her workouts or maybe some cooking thing. There's always something to post because you got to eat every day and we got to move our body every day. So just through process of elimination, we have these two steadfast things. A business is looking, or an organization is saying, I need this young lady's services. She lives in my community. I'm thinking to myself, okay, if I don't know her, but I know she lives in my community, why would I want to hire her? So what would you say to, potentially say to this young lady when it comes to another business or prospects, wanting to possibly work with her?
I mean, the first thing is show your face.
Show your
Just show your face, because there are so many people who do the same thing. And I mean, she's a wellness coach, a health coach, a weight loss coach, right? I mean, you can't throw a stick in the digital world and not hit a wellness coach, a weight loss coach, a fitness coach, right? So you have to stand out. You have to differentiate yourself. And like when you're talking about like another business wanting to collaborate, well, they don't know. She can say, yes, this is what I've done. This is what I can do. Look at my website, but there's no proof. And social proof is so important because you can't trust your own eyes these days with, AI and bots. You can't trust what you see online. So putting yourself out there, putting your face on camera, putting your body on camera. If you are basically, you're selling your body. You're saying, I was 400 pounds, now I'm 150. Well, you are selling your body, right? So you need to show people what they're going to get, show the transformation, and show that they can trust you, and that you know what you're talking about. And that's whether it's a client or it's another business trying to collaborate with you. They need to see, they need to trust, and they can't trust just words on a page.
Well, in your podcast episode from the Conscious Leader podcast on YouTube, the links in the comments, so click and watch it. You spoke about the 3 basic things to start off, even if you know absolutely nothing of visibility. And you said your phone, most phones have good cameras these days.
Yep.
And if it's not looking that good, clean it. There's Windex, right? There's a clean the camera, the nice fiber cloth. Lighting, if you're outside, make sure you're with the sun and all of these things, and or getting good lighting for where you are so people can see you. And then of course, the distance, right? Like a stand, so that you're not zoomed in too far and stuff like that. So you touched on that, which I liked and appreciated, because there's so many of us when we're first starting off, especially as women, we're uncomfortable initially with showing our faces, not because we don't think we're beautiful or anything. We're just like, no, let me just be behind the scenes. I don't want to have to put on the makeup or the this. Like there's for whatever reason. Sometimes it could be that. Other times there are other reasons. But then you talked about here selling. If you're doing, for example, in this case, it was fitness, you're selling your body. We forget, and I didn't even think about this, but we forget that when we get on camera, we're selling a service or a product or a way of being. And that is what other businesses, other prospects, these are what your prospects are thinking to themselves. Okay, yes, I know, I like, and I trust you. I know you because I'm seeing your face. I like you because we're possibly aligning, and I'm trusting you because you're showing me social proof.
Yeah.
Yes. So when it comes to this, how has that aspect and the brand visibility helped you as a business owner, as an entrepreneur?
Oh my gosh, so many ways. So I'll tell you a really quick story, like a quick backstory, so to speak. When I was doing network marketing, I would go live constantly. And this was back when people weren't really doing a lot of lives. Like Periscope was a thing. And so people were starting to do Periscope and all of that. But I would do demos, education, and unbox new products with my company and all of that. And every single time I recorded a video or I went live, I got sales. Like that is, a verifiable proof that when you're visible, you make money. Because every single time I showed my face and every single time I showed off what I did, what I know, someone purchased from me. Like I would do a live video and there is a check that I would get from my company, And so now it's a lot of collaboration which I love. Like you and we're collaborating, and I do a lot of collaborative activities, and people see my lives, they see my videos, they get to know me, my personality, and what I bring to the table. And they'll reach out and say, hey, I would love to do something with you. I'd love to work with you. Because as you said, now I see, okay, well, she aligns with me and my mission. And I think I could get along with her. I trust that she knows what she's talking about, and I like her. So it's just all those things wrapped together to increase your brand, increase your visibility, which again will, increase your leads and increase your bottom line.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I'm drinking it. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. That's like an old term back in the day. I don't know if the new generation gets that term, but yeah. Question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking to myself, I'm showing up. I have my face on. I am doing all the things, engaging, XYZ, but no one's biting.
Mm-hmm.
What is happening with the visibility? I thought you said, Jasmin, that if I just showed my face and I showed up every day, that the magic will happen and my bottom line will grow. But it's not happening. Help me.
It might be a messaging problem. That tends to be the issue with, like, if you're just speaking into a void, then you're talking to no one. You know what I mean? And so many of us, and I say us too, because sometimes I have that same issue, and we'll be afraid to niche down, and we might not speak to the person that we need to speak to. And if we're not speaking to them, no one hears us. So, you can post on Instagram 50 times a day, but if you are posting the wrong thing, it doesn't matter, because the people aren't going to see it. So it usually comes down to a messaging problem.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So then now that's where you're getting more into the fine tuning, and you're getting into the written word, where it's not just your physical appearance now, but it's your written appearance. That's a big point. Correct?
Yeah. And just knowing who your person is.
Yes.
Like I was working with someone who, I said to her, like, who do you want to sell your physical product to? She said, well, everybody. And I said, that's not a thing. Like, that is not a thing. You need to figure out who it is you are trying to reach. And I'm old school. You mentioned, the old school phrases. I am old school. I write everything down on a piece of paper and give your, when you're in business, like you're say there you go. When you've got like business coaches, they talk about like your client avatar and all of that. And really sit down and get to know him or get to know her. Give them a name. What do they do for work? Where do they get their coffee in the morning? Like all of that. Because then when you're speaking, whether it's a video or something written, you are now able to speak directly to them. And they'll say, when they see that post, they're like, oh, Delisa, she's talking to me. Like, we're besties now. Let me go talk to her. But if you are just trying to sell to everyone, you might get a bite here or a bite there, but you're never going to get the whole meal. And the whole meal is what helps you leave your 9-to-5 job.
So we need to zone in and target in on our audience.
Yeah.
Be very clear and specific, and recognize when we're showing up, we're not only showing up physically and showing our face, but we're also showing up mentally. We're also showing up in written form. I know many people don't like the written word that much anymore, but it's still powerful, the written word.
Yeah. And people learn differently, and people receive messages differently. So even though like I focus on being visible on camera, getting you comfortable on camera, getting you, helping with your stage presence and all of that, I still will talk about doing, written posts, doing, picture posts and all those different things because people register things differently. Like I'm a visual learner. I need to see it to learn it. I don't necessarily need to hear it, but I need to see it to learn it. And some people are the opposite. They need to hear it or they just need to read it. So go, do all the things, but be consistent.
But be consistent. Consistency is key.
Yeah.
In 2024 and probably beyond, knocking on doors, old school way of doing things as well, is seemingly obsolete. But I still do it because, as you mentioned, when we're showing up every day and we're targeting our audience, it will have that impact. It will have the influence and they will reach out to us.
Yeah.
Now, let's transition this. And I'm going to share with you. So I have a mentee, a young adult, and she's still in school, but she wants to have her own business that works well. So she says to me, like I said, well, what are you doing? She's like, well, I'm doing a Zoom training. Like I said, good for you. Are you on social media? I put some pictures. And then I said to her, okay, what did you learn in this Zoom training? And she's like, well, how to speak with other people, how to show up. Proceeding on now to find out from her, I said, did you actually go out there and knock on some doors so you can, practice and see if what you're learned actually works if you're not comfortable with turning on the camera yet? She says no. So yesterday, that is what we did. We went and knocked on some doors in the community. And I said, the first place you always want to go, even if you're starting the business, you're thinking to start a business, you have any business, if you want to collaborate or partner with anyone, start in your community and start with your community center or your chamber of commerce because they need you the same way you need them and you can practice. My question to you, for those of us who are thinking to themselves, well, I'm doing the things. Now I got to go knock on some doors. And I don't literally mean knock on doors. I just mean going in the spaces where, your physical presence. How can they show up visibly, or have that presence so that what they're doing on social media translates into real life? Jasmin? Jasmin. Well, I think we've lost Jasmin there for a moment, but I'm confident that she will return back to us. So if you have any questions, yes.
Okay. Am I back?
Okay, good. You're back. Yes. So my question was very quickly, how do we move from online presence to in-person presence and still remaining authentic?
So speaking as an introvert, which no one ever believes, I'm very shy. But networking groups are great. If you're trying to move out of the online space and collaborate with people in person, going to a networking group is fantastic. You go to these events and go with the expectation of it being low pressure. Don't go with but I have to talk to people. Just maybe your goal is to say hello to one person, and then the next time say hello to two people, and go to different events so that you get a different mix of people, and you might see the same folks again and become more comfortable, become more confident. I'm a huge fan of talking to myself. So, practice in the mirror. hi, I'm Jasmine. It's so nice to meet you, and, tell me about yourself. What do you do? And, if you're not comfortable talking about yourself, put it on them. Ask
Mhm.
leading questions. People love to talk about themselves. Why do you think there are 8 million YouTube channels? People love talking about themselves. So ask leading questions, and going to, like, depending on your industry, go to masterminds
Mhm.
and seminars. Everyone is there for the same reason. They're trying to learn something, and people are usually there because they want to connect with you and connect with someone else and collaborate later, because connection is currency, right? So just put yourself out there, and just, again, one person. You just have to say hi to one person, knock that dust off, and then go for it.
When you mentioned, well, I love connection is currency, and I'm taking that. I'm letting you know to your face, live.
Oh, I stole it, so it's all
I'm
good.
taking that. Yeah, connection is currency. But you talked about practicing in the mirror, or talking to yourself, and that was a trigger for me with Les Brown. And I remember a few decades ago, um, when I was listening to a lot of motivational speakers and transformational speakers, and one of them was Les Brown. And he
Mhm.
said when he started on his speaking journey, he had no one to talk to but his plants. And that's who he talked to when he had to give any speech. It didn't matter if it was 2 minutes, it didn't matter if it was an introduction. He spoke to his plants, and he made eye contact, and he watched to see if it moved a little bit or flickered. And I was like, yes, that makes sense to me. Talk to my plants.
Yeah,
So that was just a trigger moment for me too, in a positive way. And I
yeah.
enjoy the fact that you're saying, talk to yourself in the mirror,
Mhm.
because you're going to hear all the ahs, ha, and what, when. Like you're
Yeah,
yeah. And the more you do that, the more comfortable you become, the more authentic you will be,
yeah,
and your creativity, what people don't recognize, and I didn't even say this, but the creativity sparks, because all of a sudden you start off one way, but now you start feeling inspired by whatever it is that you're saying. Even if the question is, hi, how are you? These
yeah,
little things start making you become and feel inspired. And when you're inspired, you are in spirit. And when you are in spirit, that is when things start moving, and all of a sudden you become energized, and you start speaking in like your purest and most authentic form.
yeah.
And please correct me if I'm wrong, when we're in that space, this is where the brand, like the visibility aspect, the power of our presence makes that
Mhm.
difference.
I think so. And I love what you were saying about, like, being in your spirit, because people want the real you. It doesn't matter if it's in person or online. They want the real you. They want to connect with you. And they just want to know who you are. They want to know your spirit. So I just think that that was a beautiful way that you phrased that. And it's just, and like you said, like, when you're talking to yourself, you're hearing things. Like, I'm a journalist, also I write for television news, and I tell my writers all the time, read your stories out loud, because you can write down as many notes as you want, but your ear is always going to catch something that your eyes don't. And and then when your ear catches it, it sparks something in your brain as well. So it's just, yes, be comfortable in your own skin. You have to be who you are. And if you don't know who you are, because I've run into that, people are like, well, I don't know who I am. Especially as women and women of color, there's a lot of code switching that happens depending on who you're with. Figure it out. There are lots of books that you can read and journals that you can do, to figure out who you are, so that way you can become the person that you need to be and
Mhm.
share it with the world, because you've got gifts, share them out.
You got gifts. Absolutely. 100%. So now we're visible. We understand that the power of being our authentic, true self, and speaking from that space, from our spirit. Now a company, an organization says, I want to collaborate with you. And I've been there, right? They want to collaborate with you. They want to work with you. How can anyone listening in maintain, not only really maintain that visible presence, like what steps can they take in terms of sharing certain things? Because when we're understanding the dynamics of collaborating with another business, people must recognize that it's a two-way beneficial thing.
Yeah.
It's not just one-sided. You may be going in to leverage their audience. They may be coming in for your particular product or service. And so it might seem that they are losing, but in the long run, you might end up be losing. So in saying that, my question to you is, we're showing up. We're omnipresent, so to speak. Other brands, let's say a mid-size or a bigger brand, well-known brand says, I want to work with you because what you have is what you're doing is what we need right now. We want to tap into that. How should people proceed?
The first thing I would suggest is to remember to stay true to who you are, because that's what attracted them to you in the first place. So stay true to who you are. Don't lose yourself, lose your identity in this other company or brand that you're collaborating with. And the second thing is to have a plan. Right? You need to have a plan. You don't want to burn yourself out. You don't want to burn out your plan, your brand. You don't want to burn out your list. You don't want to burn out your audience. So have a plan. How you can support being visible for yourself and being visible for this company or other brand that you're collaborating with. Plans are really important. I just, and have a team. If you need to have a team because you can't do it all yourself, have a team on your side, because that's going to really help you to stay focused and to keep to that plan. And again, just don't lose yourself. So hopefully that answered your question.
Right. It does answer the question, because we're coming back to the root, right, of what you've said since the beginning. We need to be ourselves. We need to show our authentic self. And beyond showing our authentic self, people want to know us, so they need to see our face. They want to like us. So this is where we're showing that social proof, either through our actions and or through reviews, right? Or testimonials.
Oh, yeah, testimonials.
Yeah. And then, and they want to trust us as well. And so part of that trust, so that they eventually become a client, is that piece. You're omnipresent, you're visible, you're speaking specifically to them. You're showing that social proof. And then that trust piece where they're buying from you is because they've aligned with you and they said, man, you're showing me this. You're living it every day. And then taking it further, now when you're working with another brand, whatever it is, even if it's a nonprofit organization, don't discredit any brand that you're working with.
Yeah.
You have to pay attention to all those details, because it's meant to benefit you both.
Yes.
Yeah. So your points with staying true to yourself when an opportunity arises to collaborate, staying true to yourself, having a plan, and working with a team, if possible, makes logical sense.
Yeah.
It helps to keep you on track, because I'm pretty confident in your many years of experience that you've come across things that seem so good, So
Mhm.
good at first, but then when you really look at it and take time to consult and you're going through your plan, you realize this is not for me.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to say that to yourself and to the other person, that this isn't going to work, because as my granddaddy used to say, all money is not good money, you
Ooh.
know? So it's like, you still have to be you. You still have to, and I know I keep going back on that, but you still have to be the person that you are, and you have to live with yourself.
100%. Your granddaddy used to say, and this is an old saying: not all money is good money. People are like, but money is money. It's an energy. What her granddaddy meant, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that what do you have to give up for this money? Is it
Mhm.
going into your morals, your values, your
Yeah.
integrity? Is it making you lose who you are? If you got
Yeah.
to lose yourself for this money, then that ain't good money. Because
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. I mean, just to give you an example, I had an opportunity to take a job that would pay me more money than I've ever made in my life. That is probably, I don't know, 5 times more than the average US salary.
Mhm.
And that is very attractive because I love to travel and I like nice things, right?
Yes, you do. I see you traveling like every weekend.
I do. I love it. And so it's like, so wow, that's really great. But that particular job would have required me to give so much of who I am and so much of my soul.
Mm.
I couldn't in good conscience do it. Like, I wouldn't be able to tell anybody what I did or where I worked. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because I mean, it wasn't anything illegal. Just so you guys know, it wasn't illegal. Um, but it was just, it's not a place for me.
Yeah.
So I didn't take that. I mean, I don't regret not taking that job. I mean, the paycheck would have been really nice, but I don't regret not taking that job because it's not, it wasn't going to sit well with my heart and with my soul.
Mhm.
So, not all
And
money
that's
is good money.
important. That's important. You're tapping into there, and I hope you guys caught what Jasmine said. The spirit behind the words of what she said. Now you're tapping into who you are. You're tapping into your spiritual being, your consciousness, that spiritual consciousness. And when you are aligned within yourself, and that still small voice says, walk away, even though it's very attractive and it
Yeah.
might mean like betterment, that does not mean that you should take it and you should listen,
Yeah.
right? So it's
Mhm.
staying true to you. If you've not gotten anything else outside of this conversation, and when it comes to partnerships or collaborations, partnerships with yourself, partnerships with other brands and businesses, remember this one point that Jasmine keeps coming back to, repetition, repeating, like a school teacher. When we're in elementary school, right? They're always repeating things. She said,
Mhm.
stay true to you. Be authentically you.
Yeah, you just really have to. And again, if you don't know who you are for whatever and I'm not saying that with any judgment at all, because again, as women, we tend to code switch a lot, right? And we have to be different people with different circumstances. If you don't know exactly who you are, do some work to figure it out, because that's going to help you personally, and it's going to help you as a business owner. You
Absolutely.
have to know who you are so that you
100%.
can be who you are.
So you can be who you are. Before we go,
Mhm.
um, any parting words? Give us one tip or two tips, perhaps, maybe two. Indulge us here on
Ah,
the power of strategic brand presence, either in our social media
mhm.
and or for in-person? Your choice in which one you want to share.
I mean, your personal brand, it's really key, right? And I work with network marketers a lot who they talk about, well, my brand is, the company that I represent. No, that's not your brand. That's your product. And your product or your service, that's not your brand, right? You are your brand. And you are going to be what stands out to your audience, to your potential customers, to your potential clients. And so going back to knowing who you are will help you to craft your messaging a lot better. And you want people to see your name and think of whatever it is that you sell or whatever it is that you offer. You want them to see your picture and think, this is what she sells, this is what she offers. You want people to see your colors of your Instagram feed and instantly know, oh, this is Delisa, this is Jasmin, this is whomever it is that you are, because that's what's going to stick out to people and that's who you are. So everything that you do should reflect you because you are the brand. Your brand is not your logo. You are your brand. And let people just shine, let people in and, bring people into your world and then share yourself, which is scary because fear of judgment is real.
Yes.
But share yourself and people will love you for that. And if people don't love you, they're not for you. So forget them.
Well, now you've given me additional license for when I'm speaking with my marketing team, and I'm like, well, why don't they all know my name by now?
That's the goal, right? We all want people to know who we are.
Why don't they know? You know what the response I get, and they do they're exceptional at what they do at DigiSpace. Yes, the young man that I work with. Well, not really young. He's kind of old. He's a professor. He teaches math. Interestingly enough, he does for marketing, but he has a whole team of young students who are either graduated and they're looking for employment, or maybe they're interning so they can get their hours. Anyways, he always told me the first time we met, this was last year, he said, Delisa, it's about quality, not quantity. And I'm like, I understand that, but this is a mother-daughter duo. It's Faith and I. How are we going to make this work? This is what I need. He's like, yeah, I understand. It will happen. And even with the young guy, his name is Nassar. He does our YouTube videos, and I'm part of the same team with DigiSpace. And he says to me, Delisa, you don't write it out. I said, I have a whole book. Like me, I'm telling, I have a whole book. He's like, I'm glad you have your notes, but sometimes I need you to do this. So it's getting that feedback. And as you said, like having that brand presence and the power of that presence. And there are things that they're seeing that I don't see, obviously, because they're in the trenches doing the work. And I appreciate their feedback so that my presence can be better, and the brand can be better. Of course, with Faith is perfect.
She is so stinking adorable. Yeah, she is perfect.
She's perfect. They tell me that. They're like, I remember the first time Naeem, he heads up DigiSpace. He says to me, Delisa, do your videos like Faith. And I said, but I did the layout. He goes, no. She exceptionally good. I need you to take it. But it's all love, right? And it's all good. But anyways, I just wanted to share that piece because, the power of our presence and how we're strategic in it and the work that we're putting out. I want to thank you so much, Jasmin, for being here with us. And for all of you who have tuned in, I thank you for every comment, every like that you have shared. I thank you for your questions and your feedback and thoughts. It's most appreciated. Reach out to Jasmin Bryant, No Fear Video.
Fear no video.
Yeah. No Fear Video. Yeah.
No, fear no video.
Oh, Fear no video. I apologize. Fear no video. Fear no video. Because she has incredible tips. In the comments, I have put down the Conscious Leader podcast where I did an interview with her, and she's sharing about brand visibility, and she's giving us golden nuggets, jewels that we can start implementing for ourselves when we're doing recording, from how we stand, the presentation of ourselves, et cetera, et cetera. So thank you all. Have an incredible day. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all the things. And follow Jasmin. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.